red here though too, so this is gonna be
What is
definitely a
happening?
showdown. Oh my god. Oh, but the bugs stopped chasing red and blue too. Are they just gonna fight here in the
Wow.
open? The bugs are reacting.
Hello everyone, I'm very excited to announce the release of the PvP mod that I've been working on. It's been a long time coming, but it's finally here. I intend for this video to be a full, in-depth guide on how to use it. Fair warning, however, it is very janky. Like with any release of a new mod or game, there comes a lot of issues, and I hope that when you try yourself that you're patient enough to deal with these issues and work around them. I'm not a coder or modder by any stretch of the word, so development on it might be slow and far between, and there are going to be some aspects that I'll just plainly need help on. However, I think this mod deserves to exist, and it's something that the multiplayer community that has wanted for a long time, is PvP functionality. And like I say, it's 80% there, it's just some issues are bound to arise. But here's how I want to break the video down. 1. What this mod is, how it works, and its intended use. 2. How to best set up the mod and use it. 3 is going to be known issues and bugs. Some of the major ones, I'm not going to cover every single one, but there are some major ones that you need to play around. And 4, the community and support around it. And 5, probably a FAQ section at the end where I can answer some questions that were really popular in the last video. Without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so let's get into number 1. What this mod is, how it works, and its intended use. What this mod is it essentially gives function to 2 factions that the player can control. These colonists on the left are part of the new arrival factions, while this colonist on the right is part of the Savage Tribe faction. And since these factions are actually enemies with each other, they fight, and it translates very well into PvP. One player can control one of the other factions, and the other player control the other, resulting in combat. Now, I don't want anyone to be confused, it is for Rimworld PvP combat only. You cannot make normal settlements, you cannot settle settlements, you cannot build buildings. As you can see, these colonists on the right are the only ones that have work parties, while the other ones on the left do not. So it's really just to test out these cool maps that you can make, maybe different tactics that you and your friend can try, and just kind of have fun games like that. Now let's get to number 2, probably the most important one, how to set up and best use this mod. So I'm going to start from the top down just so it's very clear on how to kind of set this up. So you just want to enable the mod like you would with any other mod. Go to New Colony, go to Crash Landed, and the amount of people that you start with Crash Landed is how many you're going to have on one team. So if you want to have 5 people on one team, then you just press 5, press next. You want dev mode enabled for this, obviously. Load up your world. And when your people crash land, they will be part of one of the factions, and they're actually going to start drafted. So what you want to do now is to get the other faction here, you want to open the dev menu using this button right here to enable dev mode. Press this button up here, go to spawn pawn on this side, type in colonist, and then however many people you want on the opposing team, you just want to place. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then now these people are hostile. And you can see when they go next to them, they all fight each other and kill each other. That's essentially how you set it up. Now, because of a lot of issues, I like having mainly 2 mods on. So one of the mods I highly recommend that you download to use this is the character editor. I'll obviously post a link to it, but you can bind it in the mod settings that you have when you have it up. And I just bind it to a button on my keyboard. And all you want to do is open it. You can change their armor, what they're wearing, even the color that they're wearing, which I highly recommend because you do get confused in combat. And even the most important part, their faction. So the only factions that you really want is New Arrivals and Savage Tribe. Those are the only functional factions that you can play. And you can switch them just on a dime. And you can see now they're fighting that guy that they were just allied with. The other mod that I recommend that you download, since the raider faction acts like raiders, they will attack structures. And let me set one up real quick. So I just built this wooden wall here, and I forget which faction does it, but the wall is technically owned by another colony. So whenever you try to move them, they'll actually attack this wall. It only happens when another player's in the game, funnily enough, which I don't have. So to mitigate that, just them attacking random walls or power conduits, I recommend this wall give up this mod give up your base, and then that will make it so you'll never be able to attack this wall unless you actually directly tell them to. So those are really the only 2 mods I highly suggest, as they are they'll make it a lot easier to use. Also, the multiplayer mod, obviously. This is not a standalone mod where it will enable multiplayer. After you have everything set up, you just want to host a server, and then boom, there you go. So now, my least favorite part, let's talk about the known issues and bugs that I have encountered in testing and I can't really patch out. The first major one being is that the new arrivals faction, they are not able to focus fire. Now, individual focus firing they cannot do, but they can do group focus firing. So as you can see, when I click the chain shotgun, Jade is not able to shoot. But for this faction, I will be able to shoot just like that. And it's a lot easier, to be honest. The other thing about the new arrivals faction is that they're probably the one that have the most issues. So you cannot drop items from the new arrivals faction. So like she has a smoke pop belt, a chain shotgun. She can't really drop those. And when they try to equip different guns, sometimes they kind of lose both guns. And it's kind of a huge deal. Also, another issue I forgot to bring up. When you have the dev mode open, it will have an auto open feature. You want to turn that off because it will red text. And there's a lot of reasons for it. And they kind of go over my head. And I wish I could patch them out, but I can't really find the reason for it. Back to focus firing. So the red team can focus fire. You just need to select kind of a group with them. So then if you select more than 2 or 3 colonists, then they can actually focus fire and shoot. It's kind of one way to bypass that. Another issue that is present that's kind of annoying is that in normal Rimworld PvP combat, you can just right-click an enemy and then it'll give you that signal that they're going to go and attack. However, for both teams, this is a lot harder. So Barga can't really right-click this guy. You have to click melee attack. And this guy just needs to go here and get close, so then they'll actually attack. To mitigate this, set the auto feature for the colonists when they're undrafted to attack. So when you do undraft, then they will chase and automatically attack like that. That's the best way I can find around it. Mortars currently are a bit glitchy. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. It all depends on where the mortar lands. It can glitch out. Like say it hits this poker table, the mortar shell will then glitch out and kind of break. It's kind of a consequence of multiplayer and this mod being active. This one's going to be huge for map makers. Do not make maps with doors. I know that sounds very strange, but if you think about it like this, it kind of makes sense. So one of these factions will not be able to cross doors. It will say, cannot go here, there's no path. And when you're with your friend, it will just bug out their AI completely. You can make it so you need to break down the doors. Then that way they can go in, kind of like a breaching style. However, it's just easier to move from room to room because if you right click, say this room has a door on it, and you right click in there, they'll just stop completely, and it's more annoying than it's kind of worth. So just be careful with doors because their AI will bug out. So far, those are the only major issues that I can really think of. None other are really game breaking. There's some here and there that are annoying, but you just have to play around. It's like I said, it's 80% there. And I hope to get help in the future to fix these issues. If we could get it to a place where it's really fun to play, there's not a lot of issues, and it's just, you know, really snappy and responsive and good, then I will consider this a success. But for right now, this mod is in very early alpha even, not even beta. This is just to get the conversation rolling, and I'm sorry that it does have issues and has bugs, but you know, I'd rather have this mod exist than not. And I think a lot of people would agree with me on that. I do just want to say, anything else, like, I have not tested transport launchers. I've not tested probably a million different things that you who are going to download the mod will test. And that's going to be something that's going to come up later. Like, hey, this is broken. This doesn't work. There's an issue here. Is there any way to fix this? It is a lot of uncharted territory because there's some things I just don't think to test, or there's some situations that arise that I'm like, how did you even get that to happen? But really, it's gonna be uncharted territories. One last thing I forgot: do not enable ideology. Ideology will break absolutely everything. Royalty is fine, and a majority of the other mods are fine as well, but ideology will break everything. If you just look at the screen, if you follow this mod list, you will have no problem at all. And realistically, you do not need character editor, give up your building, or hugs lib. You can run just off of multiplayer, the PvP mod, and Harmony. And that's it. As long as you follow this list, you will not have any problems with the mod not working. Number 4. I really hope that a community grows around this mod and perhaps get a really cool scene going. If you want to know more about the mod, have questions, or even issues, please leave a message on the Steam Workshop for me to read. Now, if you're interested in this mod and the Rimworld PvP scene as a whole, then I really hope that you could join 100man's Discord. He's one of the nicest content creators I've met, and has been extremely welcoming and nice for the entirety development with this mod, and has made a specific Discord text channel dedicated to this mod where I frequently hang out. If this becomes too big for one Discord, then I am definitely open to making a new Discord where people could share replays, maps, and ideas that they had, but we'll see where it goes. I am in desperate need of coders and programmers who understand Rimworld code, specifically faction code, because that's essentially what this mod is. I want people who would be anxious to help me fix some of these issues present, so if you think you could help me, then please DM me on Discord and we can talk about it for sure. But yeah, I hope this mod, I hope a lot of people get enjoyment out of this mod. Let's move on to FAQ. One of the most common comments I got was, will there be real Fog of War integrated in this? Now, I don't like saying never, but I can safely say I will probably never work on a Fog of War add-on to this, and I don't even know if it's going to be possible. The only way it'll be possible is if there's 2 separate clients, because how the multiplayer mod works is that it sees one screen. It doesn't give control to 2 players on 2 different computers, right? So making Fog of War would essentially be impossible. Do not hold your breath for Fog of War. I don't think it's going to be possible. Are you planning on making more PvP videos? I think so. I have a pretty busy personal life, but where I can find and get people to play matches, I think they're really fun and interesting to watch. And like I said, I want to see it grow, so I do plan on making more videos. Combat Extended and other mods. A lot of people ask about Combat Extended. I did not test that thoroughly with Combat Extended. I'm not very familiar with it. I don't even know how it works, to be honest. So that's something for you to try if you download the mod. Does Combat Extended work, and to extent what does work with Combat Extended? And for other mods, this mod is very friendly to other mods. I'm not going to say nothing breaks it, but there are a lot of mods that work well with it. My first ever video, I had maybe 15 mods going there, and it ran exactly the same as if I didn't have any mods enabled. Really depends on what mods you have, and obviously the more mods you will add on top of the PvP, the more likely it's going to break and things are not going to work well. So I will say it's pretty friendly to other mods, but don't expect it to handle everything. More PvP content, like besides my videos, I highly recommend you check out 100man's YouTube. He makes PvP videos, but makes them in a very different style than I do. He does more long plays rather than me just getting people into a match and butting heads. So if you're really interested in PvP combat, check out that Discord, check out his channel. I highly encourage it. Another thing with the mod, do the turrets and animals work? So if you had some trained Mega Sloths on one team, would they attack the other? When I tested, they did work. They had a little bit of issues, but you can work around it. And for turrets, they work as well. Just the one thing I want to get across is that this is a faction. What this mod changes is just factions. I don't go into, the PvP code and stretch it out and try to make it work for PvP. All I'm doing is changing Rimworld code, translating that to multiplayer, and then just playing it. So as long as the turrets are on the right faction and the animals are on the right faction, then they will fight the other faction. It's just simple as that. And even in the future, technically there are ways that you could make a free-for-all. If you make all the factions hostile to each other, then you could even have a battle royale or something like that. That's something that I could explore in the future, but for right now, those are the most kind of prevalent questions I had on the other video, so hope I answered them well enough. Please, if you have any more questions or comments or issues, go to the Steam Workshop page, leave a comment in this video, or go to the Discord. Those are really the avenues that you could take. So Really hope you enjoy the mod, and have a good one.